Buti Binafi. Good morning. My name is Jeremy Vargas from Counseling and Psychological Services, and today I want to talk about men's mental health. Primarily, a stigma that exists out there. Seeing that it's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, November. So, the stigma that we're going to talk about today is men don't experience emotional pain, or they don't experience emotional experiences at all. And that's a growing stigma that's out there. And it's false. So let's talk about that. This stigma originated from different things, preferences mainly, and how emotions are expressed. So for preferences, as an example, you have the typical, and it even has it in the name, chick flick, that are love movies about romance and about development and growth of someone finding their way through perilous task or through difficult situations. And then you have the action movies that men like that are about spies or about trucks blowing up and gunfire and all that other action based stuff. And that's just a preference. That doesn't mean that a man can't watch a chick flick and have the same experiences. On the contrary, they will have some of the similar experiences. It just not might be at the same level as a typical woman would. Um, Another good example is outward expression of emotion. Women are more affectionate, so they have normalized physical touch. They have normalized expressing how they feel to their peers, to their friends, to their parents. And parents do that as well. The society does that as well. We encourage behavior like that in women. That's why we say to little girls, like, go and play with your friends, or have your friends over for a sleepover. Um, are you guys going to go watch a movie tonight? And we don't have that similar experience when a female goes with a male, or it's a different experience for a male. So instead of saying, have a sleepover with your friends, or go to the movies with your friend, go ride your bikes, or go play video games. Let me get you this video game so you guys can play in the house here. And it's different things. And it has created a culture where women are more affectionate and men are less affectionate. Normalizing of touch. Women like to hold hand when they walk down the street, maybe interlocking it at the elbow. Uh, Sometimes they'll hug each other in most pictures, whereas men are more distant. And you can check this yourself. Go on your Facebook feed, your Instagram or Twitter or whatever, and look at the pictures of groups of men and look at the pictures of groups of women. Groups of women are smushed in together, close face to face. I mean, hopefully not now because of COVID, but and you look at the pictures of men, they're shoulder length apart. And this is how we've normalized that culture. So their expression of feeling is limited. Now, does that mean that they don't experience the same amount of affection for each other? No, of course not. They just display it differently, which is where the stigma originated from. Men don't outwardly express themselves, whereas women typically do. This has led to some difficulties in managing emotional stress or emotional pain. So, whereas a woman would typically seek out assistance from her social support group, her girlfriends, her best friends, her mother, men don't normally do that. Men tend to internalize and hold in and process by themselves because we see that as a way that men are supposed to process things because of how we were upbringing. The upbringing was for men. We don't see seeking out social support as a go-to. That's a last resort thing, and by then it might be too late. Women have been socialized to do the opposite. So when a man experiences emotional pain, they don't have the skill set to actually process it and work through it. This leads to ineffective coping strategies or ineffective ways of handling that emotional pain. Before we get into the ineffective ways of handling it, though, let's talk about some of the warning signs of a male who is struggling with emotional pain. Alcohol misuse. That's one of the biggest ones because it's readily accessible, it's easy, and it gets the job done immediately. Now, as a sustainable method of dealing with emotional pain, it is not the best thing. Anger, irritability. You see a male friend or a father that is typically stoic, not bothering anybody, usually gives you the kind regards, and then now he's becoming irritable, angry, tends to blow up for no reason. These are signs that they are under stress. They are trying to process emotional pain. And because they internalize, they neglect the outward experience. They neglect how they're putting themselves into the world in that moment. And it comes out as irritability or aggression. Now, some men go the opposite direction. They prefer to not be alone, and they'll try to find activities or events or things to occupy their time because the fact of being alone with your thoughts is so scary because you don't know how to process these emotional pains. You're stuck within yourself, so you find things as distractions or things to occupy that time so you spend less time alone. So to recap, some of the warning signs are alcohol misuse, aggression and irritability, and not liking to be alone or trying avoidance of being alone with thoughts. So when a man is unable to express themselves appropriately or in a functional way, what do? Alcohol misuse is another one. The one that we talked about earlier, and it's one of the main ones, and it is one of the most ineffective coping strategies that works. Now, let me clarify that. It is ineffective because your liver will hurt, you're not actually processing it, and you're spending a lot of money on something that is not sustainable. It works because in that moment, you don't feel the emotional pain. So picture this, for example. It's a Thursday and you just left from work, you get in a car accident, it's a fender bender. You just touched the person in front of you, but insurance has to be involved, the police are involved, now your insurance rates are going up, and you're stressed out about this. A woman in that situation would seek counsel, would seek help, and would vent about that stress, would vent about that pain, that uncomfortableness, that insecurity, that unsureness. A man now would internalize that and say, I have it controlled, I'll pay for it, everything will be fine. Yes, they might go and talk to their wife, maybe to a friend or two, but they won't actually talk about why it's stressing them out. When they go out that Thursday night, it's Thirsty Thursdays. So they're going to drink, and they're going to put one back, put another back, put another back, because the more I drink, the less the pain I am experiencing has an effect on me. It's almost as if it's numbing your body. And then that's how they learn to deal with that stress, that emotional pain. So now, in the future, when they experience or re-experience that emotional pain, they'll jump to alcohol because the last time I was experiencing this pain that I couldn't resolve, that I couldn't process, I drank a couple beers and I felt better. So that's what I'll do again. And then it creates this cycle of drinking to numbing yourself. And then you have a habituation effect where you get used to the same level of alcohol, so you got to drink more to get the same effect. And it's a downward spiral where now you're drinking a whole quart by yourself on a Monday night because something happened in the morning. And that's not effective. Alcohol is being used as a tool for avoidance instead of actually processing it. Now, what do you do in a situation like that? How do you talk to a man who is using alcohol as an ineffective coping strategy? You talk to them. Now, talking to them seems like such a weird thing to say because I'm sure you've already talked to them, but it's how you talk to them. You will want to avoid using judgmental languages. So don't go in and say you're making a bad choice by drinking alcohol. They are. They know it. You know it. They just don't know what else to do, and you don't know what else to do too. So pointing it out doesn't help them. You wouldn't want to be overly negative either, calling them stupid for jumping to alcohol, or you're damaging the life of your family, or you're wasting money on alcohol. Like these are things that are true and possibly are happening, but you don't want to rub it in their face because that just creates more pain, that creates more emotional stress, and then they're going to jump to their previous working coping strategy, which is alcohol. Because keep in mind, to them it's working. To us it isn't because you're on the outside looking in, but to them it serves its purpose. Another thing will be to know when to get help. Now, alcohol in itself, beers, rum, vodka, whiskey, all of them, in itself are not bad things. It is okay to drink. It is not okay to drink to numb yourself. Now, that is a huge difference. If you're celebrating and you're proud of your child for graduating, or you're getting married, or you finally got a divorce and you want to celebrate, go ahead, drink. It's fine. But know this, drinking becomes an issue when you start using it as a coping mechanism. So if you're not celebrating, if you're using it for bad things, then you know you're not using it right. A quick task or a quick test of this would be to, the next time you go and drink, ask yourself, why are you drinking? Is it to celebrate? Is it because your peers are drinking? Or is it because you just don't want to feel the way you're feeling and you feel better when you drink? Again, I'll say, alcohol in itself is not the enemy. It is the motivation behind drinking it that's the enemy. So ask yourself, drinking because I don't want to feel pain? Or should I go talk to someone and let them know what's going on inside and let it out so I can process it properly? Who knows? Maybe that person you're avoiding talking to about these issues are the ones that will be helpful to you and are probably going through the same thing. Reach out to your social support group. Reach out to your neighbors, to your friends, to your colleagues, to your family members, and just offer a shoulder. Offer someone to talk to. And remember, we're not there to judge them. We're not there to tell them that they're living their lives wrong. We're just there to offer support, to use positive language, to avoid rubbing their faces in it, and to let them know that you're there. Thank you, and have a great week.